Coming up, the Rangers walk off and the Phillies take down the Tigers. This is Locked On Game to Game, MLB.
Every game, every team, every angle. Locked On Game to Game, your team every day.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Game to Game MLB. Local experts join us to go over all the action for you yesterday across Major League Baseball. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. The Astros hit 4 home runs on their way to an 11-run output against the Blue Jays yesterday. Locked On Astros and Blue Jays join us with the recap.
98, 99, 100. That's right. What are you going to do, brother, when the 28-inch pythons of Jokomania and Koi Jokes runs wild on you? That's right. The Houston Astros defeat the Toronto Blue Jays. They go up north to Canada, America's hat, and they deliver a 4-home run, 19-hit outing. Brendan Bielak was dominant on the mound, but Corey Jokes with his first career grand slam. That's right. I'm H-Town Wheelhouse. All you Jokomaniacs, you gotta go crazy. You gotta say your prayers. You gotta eat your vitamins, brother. Stay tuned in to Locked On Astros. We're your team every single day. Let's go.
Hello, friends. Craig Ballard, Locked On Blue Jays. Oof. Well, in the first inning, the last time the Blue Jays and Astros got together, the first inning of that first game, the Blue Jays allowed 7 runs. And in this series, now the first inning of this series, Blue Jays allowed 6. So progress, hashtag glass half full. I mean, my goodness, help me out here trying to find something positive. My gosh, Alek Manoah got one more out tonight than you or I got. And what to do with him at this point? Absolutely no idea. And I say that because I've never seen anything like this. I do suppose a trip to the minors is something, to try at this point, and then the whole who replaces him becomes a separate conversation, because the paramount thing right now has to be trying to find someone with a better performance out of that rotation spot. The Blue Jays have now lost 9 of Alek Manoah's last 10 starts, and the strain on the bullpen has been very detrimental as well. Should be a much better pitching matchup tomorrow as Kevin Gausman takes on a really good Hunter Brown. Join me on Locked On Blue Jays to get set for that game, plus a look at how my 2023 X Factor is doing.
Trey Turner already tallied 3 RBIs halfway through the game, and Aaron Nola didn't give up a hit until the 7th, propelling the Phillies to a win over the Tigers. Locked On Phillies takes you through that victory.
Oh my goodness, the Philadelphia Phillies are so back. The Phillies take down the Detroit Tigers tonight. Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies, an 8-3 victory. Trey Turner is hot. The league is on notice. He homers twice tonight, and that wasn't even the biggest performance. Aaron Nola, no-hitter through 6. Lost, unfortunately, on a Nick Maton home run, but Aaron Nola was unbelievable. The offense was great. 8 runs is great. Trey Turner homering twice is awesome. Just a wonderful, wonderful performance by the Philadelphia Phillies. And if Trey Turner, who had another hit tonight in addition to his home runs, stays this hot with a lineup that's already been hitting the way that some of these guys are, we all pointed to Trey Turner as being part of the issue with this team, but if he becomes what he was supposed to be, their offense is dangerous. I love it. We're going to talk about it more on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
Nathaniel Lowe hit a single in the bottom of the 9th to walk the Rangers off against the Cardinals. Locked On Rangers and Cardinals go over that final.
Wrong. They take the low road to victory in a walk-off 4-3 win over the Cardinals. I'm Bryce Paddock, host of the Locked On Rangers podcast. This was a fantastic win by the Rangers after 7 one-run innings by Martin Perez. The Rangers made the slightly questionable decision to go with Grant Anderson, who had been absolutely fantastic at his first couple of outings. Not really a question there, but he finally showed that he is human. The Rangers only got 3 runs against the Cardinals starter in Adam Wainwright, who was a little bit shaky throughout this one, got some generous calls. Probably the offense wasn't quite its usual self that had just dropped back-to-back 10-plus run performances. But hey, it did enough to get the win. Nathaniel Lowe drives in the game-winning run in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rangers win 4-3, tie their longest win streak of the season, and look absolutely fantastic yet again.
Tonight was a great example of why the Cardinals have the worst record in the National League. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and let me break this one down for you. Down 3-2 in the 8th, runners on first and second, and 1 out. They get an RBI double by Nolan Arenado, but a base running mistake cost them the go-ahead run. It kills the rally, and the score remains tied at 3. Top of the 9th, Arenado can't catch a pop-up in shallow left field. Wasn't an easy play, but that's usually pretty routine for Nolan. It falls, and that becomes the runner that ends up scoring on the walk-off single. Rangers win it 4-3. That's losing baseball, and unfortunately, that's been Cardinal baseball in 2023. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
Coming up, the lead in the NL Central changes hands. This is Locked On Game to Game, MLB. Today's edition of Locked On Game to Game is brought to you by Built Bar, the best tasting protein bars on the market, probably because they're made with 100% real chocolate. They come in dozens of different flavors. I personally love the puffs, which are made with that protein-infused marshmallow. And while you can always buy them at Built.com, now you can get them in person at Sam's Club and Walmart. I go to Sam's Club, stock up, get those 13-bar boxes, but you can also find the 4-bar boxes in the pharmacy section at Walmart. Trust me, you definitely want to try these out. You will not regret it. The Brewers got just 3 hits and lost their lead in the NL Central in the process of losing to the Reds on Monday. Locked On Reds tells us how Cincy got the job done.
Andrew Abbott threw 6 innings.
1 hit.
No earned runs.
6 strikeouts.
Absolutely beautiful debut for the rookie, and Tyler Stevenson with the home run right after we talked crap about him. You gotta love that.
That's the way it goes.
Absolutely beautiful dub. The Reds badly needed it as they head into a huge series with the Los Angeles Dodgers. We got a lot to talk about on the next Locked On Reds podcast, including where Andrew Abbott now sits in the annals of debuts for the Cincinnati Reds. And he's going to pitch again before Hunter Green does. So lots to talk about. Make sure you join us on the next Locked On Reds podcast.
The Padres split a 4-game series with the Cubs by beating Chicago on Monday night, and our Locked On hosts recap how things played out on the West Coast.
Cubs don't show up against the Padres, get shut out 5-0. Not much to discuss here. The most exciting part of the game for the Cubs was David Ross got ejected, arguing balls and strikes rightfully in the second inning as it was a really bad zone early in this game. Kyle Hendricks pitched much better than his 6-inning 4-earned line, but it wasn't good enough as it's pretty hard to win in baseball when you don't score any runs. Cubs lost 2 games in this series. They split. They did not score a run in either loss. That makes it impossible to win. The Cubs offense has been in a pretty big funk for a while now. They broke out a little bit yesterday, but just not producing. Seiya Suzuki not producing, Happ not producing, just not a lot of production right now. Not a lot of home runs, not a lot of pop, not a lot of production. Cubs travel to the Angels tomorrow. Second series in this long West Coast trip, trying to figure it out offensively.
That's it for this edition of Locked On Game to Game MLB. We thank you as always for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. Make sure you're subscribed to both Locked On MLB and your favorite team's Locked On podcast on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts from. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Game to Game.